1x Developer Podcast.
And welcome back. It is the 1x Developer Podcast, and I'm Colin.
I'm Brendan.
And we decided we're going to do Whose Side Are You On first now, right?
Oh,
Or we're going to try that for a while.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so we got this one. This is a big one from it's from that book I was reading, Crafting Interpreters by Robert Nystrom, I think his name is.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to read this. It's a little bit long, but in one of the side notes, he says there is some disagreement on which order stack frames should be shown in a trace. Most put the innermost function as the first line and work their way towards the bottom of the stack. Python prints them out in the opposite order. So reading from top to bottom tells you how your program got to where it is. And the last line is where the error actually occurred.
Okay.
There's
I'm
a
with
logic
you.
to that stuff. It ensures you can always see the innermost function even if the stack trace is too long to fit on one screen. On the other hand, the inverted pyramid from journalism tells us we should put the most important information first in the block of text. In a stack trace, that's the function where the error actually occurred. Most other languages implementations do that. So
Is that true?
The question, I believe so. I mean, he says most other languages implementations do that. Let me think of that. I mean, what does JavaScript do?
Trying to remember. I
guess in JavaScript you usually just see, you don't really see the trace, like you just see the error itself.
You can see a stack trace, and I think it is the where the error occurred is the top line. I'm trying to remember. That's interesting though. Most of my experiences with PDB in Python, but I've always assumed that PDB mimicked what GDB did for C. C. That's for what you would use for like C or C++.
Oh, okay.
But maybe not.
Dude, I just console log, dude. I just print. I just read line. I don't do all this stuff.
The real ones know.
Yeah, so I mean, so my initial reaction is I'm kind of used to the way Python does it because I also am more used to the Python way of doing it. What do you think? Like, do you think there's one that makes more sense?
Yeah, I think, well, I'm biased because it's what I'm most experienced with, but I think the Python way makes more sense. You want to see, here's the thing is that the PDB prompt is where that's where you begin reading from, right? You print the stack trace and then you start from, and then you get to, it prints out, all the functions in the stack, and then you're at a prompt again and you start reading back up the stack because
exactly. Yeah.
That's where you start looking, is that where the printout stops. So you see the error message and then you work your way back up the stack. That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, he mentions the inverted pyramid in journalism, but like the way we read journalism is very different from the way we read a stack trace, right? And it's exactly what you say, right? Like, especially if you've had those times where you've printed a stack trace and there was like just a ton of junk, you couldn't even scroll all the way back up, right? So of course you want the most important thing at the bottom because you'll see that. We kind of read stack traces backwards, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that analogy I'm not familiar with that inverted pyramid from journalism, but I don't think that analogy holds when we're talking about printing a stack trace.
I think I'll have to look at the link, but I think he's just talking about how your headers, like the top level headers, are the most important, biggest idea, and then like your subheaders are smaller ideas. I think that's the inverted pyramid or something like that, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. You want to be able to, in that case, you want to be able to read down the subheadings or whatever, kind of hierarchy you want to be able to read those and get the gist of the article. I don't think that's what we're doing when we're reading a stack trace.
Right. Yeah. Trying to pull this up. Yeah, that's all the inverted pyramid is. Most newsworthy information: who, what, where, when, why, how, important details, other background info. Yeah. Okay.
There's another aspect to that. Maybe this is just the Python that I'm working with most, that's like kind of web-based and Django, and you're like in a framework kind of stuff. But like most of the stack trace is just frameworky stuff,
It's junk. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, I agree.
I don't care about all the get method, call to invoke. Like there's stuff that's in every single stack trace, and like I want that to be off screen if possible. I don't care about that.
Okay, that's actually a good segue in today's topic, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so there was an article that was making the rounds not too long ago. It was called "The Thing I Love Has Changed," and it's about AI, and it's written by, let me see here, James Randall. And he's talking about how he says he started programming when he was 7. He's now 50. Programming with the advent of LLMs has changed. It's a really good article, and I really identify with it a lot. I'm not too far off being 50 years old, as crazy as that sounds. Yeah. So one of the things he says is that in the early days of programming, you had the ability to like really, really understand how the things that you were typing in like affected the computer. And when computers were simple enough, you were able to kind of like keep a lot of that in your head. You were able to really understand what was going on with the computer when you type these commands in. And then he has this section here about abstraction. And should I just go ahead and read this whole section?
Yeah, let's just get it.
Yeah. I'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and link to the article, but I think this is quick enough. We can do it. So he says, the abstraction tower. Here's the part that makes me laugh darkly. I saw someone on LinkedIn recently, early 20s, a few years into their career, lamenting that with AI, they, quote, didn't really know what was going on anymore. And I thought, mate, you were already so far up the abstraction chain, you didn't even realize you were teetering on top of a wobbly Jenga tower. They're writing TypeScript that compiles to JavaScript that runs in a V8 engine written in C++ that's making system calls to an OS kernel that's scheduling threads across cores they've never thought about, hitting RAM through a memory controller with caching layers they couldn't diagram, all while NPM pulls in 400 packages they've never read a line of. But sure, AI is the moment they lost track of what's happening. The abstraction ship sailed decades ago. We just didn't notice because each layer arrived gradually enough that we could pretend we still understood the whole stack. AI is just the layer that made the pretense impossible to maintain. The difference is, I remember what it felt like to understand the whole machine. I've had that experience, and losing it, even acknowledging that it was lost long before AI arrived, is a kind of grief that someone who never had it can't fully feel. I've been thinking about this a lot because, like I said, I'm not too far off that age where, I was writing code and like I understood it on a much deeper level than I do today. But I disagree with that conclusion. I think AI is different. One of the things that really concerns me about AI stuff is its lack of reproducibility. The fact that we're going from something that really is like deterministic, the same program input will will result in the same output. Even though it may run differently, maybe it's a different Python runtime on a different machine, maybe the pages and RAM get sorted differently by a different operating system and all that stuff. Like from the operating system to the Python runtime to whatever else we're using, we have these kinds of guarantees that like if we put this same input in, we're going to get this same output out, right? And AI is different. The same prompt put in 50 times will not result in the same code. And I really do think there's a difference there. What do you think, Colin?
Well, there's a few things. So for myself, I'm in my early 30s, and I definitely wasn't 7 when I first started programming. I was closer to like 18. So I've never been under the illusion that I knew everything that was going on when I was programming.
Yeah.
Even though in college, I studied computer engineering, and I did write assembly code where I felt like I was very close. I had like when you're writing assembly, you really are like thinking about you pretty much have everything in your head, right? You don't understand everything, but you're deep in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're exactly right. Well, so another thing is he does say in this same article that he does feel that AI is different, right? That AI is kind of different from like some of the previous shifts that have happened. Right. So previous technology shifts were learn the new thing, apply existing skills. AI isn't that. It's a new platform or a new language. It's not a new platform or a new language or a new paradigm. It's a shift in what it means to be good at this. And he goes on to talk about like how elegance is kind of gone and the satisfaction is kind of gone and that sort of thing.
Right.
And that I 100% feel. I think about we talked about like DJs, like vinyl DJs, and talking about how they say that like the magic was gone when CDJs came on, or I don't know, I guess I think like visual effects artists feel this way about like computer generated imaging and stuff. I'm trying to think of some other examples, right? Like you've heard this stuff. The magic is just kind of gone with the new ways. Which, when you say that, you instantly feel like an old man, but like I 100% do identify with that, right? I think when I hear about people that are saying that they're like not even typing code anymore, they're only talking to their LLM, and like that just doesn't sound fun to me at all. Maybe I'm not saying it's not effective, but yeah, that's different. And I mean, pretty much what the title of the article here is, that the thing I loved is changing.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with that take, that like this isn't the same as React came along and replaced whatever the old thing was, and now we all got to learn a new framework. This is a different thing entirely. It's changing what it means to develop software. I should say to be a software developer, maybe. It changes what our day-to-day jobs look like and what we do all day.
Yeah. There's this other discussion that I've been seeing online a lot where people are arguing about kind of how valuable software engineering skills are, right? Some people are saying that anybody can code anything now. And some people are saying that, engineers that are experienced in like gathering requirements and like identifying pain points, they're like uniquely skilled to utilize these tools better than people who are like just vibe coding with like no software engineering experience at all. What do you think about that kind of stuff?
I lean more towards the latter. I do think that people who like, someone who understands the syntax of Python will generate better Python code from an LLM than someone who doesn't, right? Someone who understands the type system of Rust and what's going on with the code will be able to generate better code than someone who doesn't understand those things and is just vibe coding Rust, right? One of the things on that topic, one of the things that I feel like there's still a big separation for, and maybe this will go away as time goes on, but I still feel like people who are saying that I can just sit down and write an app and have it done in 2 weeks and I just vibe code it and I hardly know anything about coding, I still think those people are not doing what you and I do on a day-to-day basis, which is the ongoing maintenance of a large system, you know?
Yeah.
I think that those things are different. And like, I think that the LLMs have gotten really, really good at generating code, and it makes people who can't code feel like, oh yeah, anybody can do this. Anybody can code. If you have an idea, you just put it in there. That is a different thing from like maintaining a system day over day, small incremental changes and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely. You know, I've caught, like, there's been a number of times where I've caught Claude with, you know, I ask a question and then Claude is like, oh, I didn't even think of that. And it's like, like I completely caught him. You know what I mean? Like, there's been a number of times, like, you know, I can't think of anything specific, but like, there's certain, you know, you kind of develop this sense of like, okay, we're gonna have to think about this kind of thing here. We're gonna have to think about this kind of thing here. You know, there's questions that an experienced person is gonna come up with that inexperienced people aren't gonna think of, right? Things like, you know, okay, is the database going to lock up if we try to scale this? You know, is this going to work in this scenario, that scenario, every edge case? Sustain, like maintainability, that's kind of what you're talking about. You know, there's a lot of things that you're thinking of that like the LLM isn't like thinking of, right, when it's generating code.
Yeah.
So I tend to think that software engineering is like still an important skill set that exists beyond just coding. And then another element is what you were saying there, which is kind of that, you know, this depends a lot on the project, right? If you're making a greenfield project that is relatively small, I think LLMs are an incredible tool. You know, I think they're probably really good for game development most of the time. Like, you know, games are like something that just have to be fun and like that's it, right? They do have to perform. Performance can be really difficult. But you know, if you're making like a 2D game and you've just got this idea, like I think, you know, LLMs are really powerful for that. But the other thing is, it's very easy for them to make code that is like impossible to maintain. Not impossible, but you know, just like horrible and just ugly. Yeah. And that's another thing that is it's like another challenge that an experienced software engineer would be able to navigate around that a more junior level person wouldn't. And that ties into the love of the game. I mean, like, you know, a lot of these maintainability questions, a lot of these like goofy things that we argue about, these things that we make fun about in our Whose Side Are You On segment, these are kind of the things that like make it what it is, right? These are the things that kind of make this whole thing fun.
Yep. Absolutely. I found it much less fun. I feel like I'm doing code reviews all day. When I use LLM for like a large portion of my work, I feel like I'm just reviewing someone else's code all day. And that's not fun at all. That's like one of my least favorite things to do.
Yeah. The worst part, I think, is when, and this is whether the code is AI generated or I'm doing like a real code review. The worst thing is like when you review some code and then you like get into an argument and then like you feel like there's this pushback. Like, I don't know if anybody else gets that, but sometimes I'm like, oh, hey, Claude, that's dumb as hell. This is like not going to work. And then he gets all snarky with me, and it's like, just do what I'm telling you to do. Shut up. Like, you are the computer. I don't know. But yeah, I absolutely feel that, man. I don't really want to be. I mean, maybe I do want to be an engineering manager, but not all the time. Some of the projects I do because I just want to code stuff, you know. And I don't want to be like creating Jira tickets for a computer and then shepherding them around. You know, that's not fun.
Right. No, that's creating Jira tickets. I mean, I think is the closest analogy to what I feel like when people talk about like getting Claude Code to do complex projects involves writing up these documents. First, you have it write the document, and you go back and forth and like write up the plan.
Yeah.
That's basically just writing a big Jira ticket.
Yeah.
And it's incredible that Claude is capable of that. It's also not at all fun to do.
Okay, so I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a hot take. Like, I go online and I see people talking about like harnesses and like orchestration and like they've got agents, they've got multiple agents with different roles that are like interacting with each other asynchronously, autonomously, and all this stuff. And first of all, I'm like, I don't even know how you guys are doing that. I haven't seen any of this stuff, right? I just talk to Claude in my browser or on my terminal. Like, I don't know what any of that stuff is. You guys are doing crazy stuff. But also, like, at the end of the day, you guys are just talking about making markdown files, right? Like, you're making a bunch of markdown files and saying, like, okay, you are a software engineer, don't make any mistakes. You are a QA engineer, you don't let the software engineer make any mistakes. You are, like, this isn't like, I don't know, when people say, like, you know, you got to be learning this, you got to be keeping up, it's like, I don't know, this, like, well, there's a little, I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast before. I feel like I've said this before, but I feel like there's a little bit of a dichotomy here where some people are saying, like, you can't get left behind, you have to be learning these skills. And some people are like, this changes the game. Anyone can do this. It's so easy. And it's like, okay, those both can't be true, right? Either anybody can do this or I have to learn all these new skills. And I definitely don't see a lot of new skills to be learning, right? Like there's tools I'm unfamiliar with, but it sounds like you guys are writing markdown files that a skilled software engineer would be uniquely good at writing. And then, I don't know. That.
No, I feel that 100%. I'm 100% with you on that. With the added, with the added thing that these tools are only going to get better. They're only going to get better at understanding us. I'm not sure. I feel like a lot of the things people are doing these days to be good at AI or good at prompting or whatever, those things, I don't know how useful those things are going to be in 5 years when the models are even just incrementally better at understanding what my intention is when I say to do this thing. It's like, I think some of those skills just won't be, they won't have a long shelf life, let's say that, as opposed to learning how to program in a language, which has a much longer shelf life.
Yeah, the new normal has not been like identified yet.
Yeah.
I do wonder, like, you know, I've worked with people who, like, you know, older developers who like have just like not learned anything new, but in like a cool way. Like, like I've worked with developers that are like, yeah, I've just been using Vim since it came out. Like, that's like what I use. Not since it came out, but you know, like I've just been using Vim and like I don't know any of these new JavaScript frameworks. I just, you know, I've been writing Perl this whole time and that's what I do. And then and I've always kind of thought those guys were kind of cool in a way.
Oh.
I wonder if this is what like those guys, I wonder what they think about AI. They probably don't even know anything about it. They're probably just like, yeah, it's dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, I sort of think like, I don't know. I think there's a group of just like older programmer heads who are just like, I don't know. It's not for me. Maybe the feeling is like I'm close enough to retirement. Just gonna ride it out. But also it's just I mean I think there's a mentality of that person that you're talking about that's like, I don't need it. I got my thing. What I'm doing is working for me. It's worked for however many years, however many decades. I don't need this new thing that you're trying to sell me.
Yeah.
And
it sounds so freeing that to just not like, I don't care about any of the new trends, but it also feels like, what do you even really like technology for then? Because that's kind of part of it, is to be doing the new thing, you know?
Right. Okay. That's a really good, I think that's a really good, like, way to discuss this article, right? what do we really love about programming? What is it that's fun that attracted us to it in the first place, right? I think for a lot of those guys that you're talking about, like the old school guys, they kind of found what they loved about it, and then they, if they were lucky, they got to just do that as professionally for however many years, and they just stuck with it because they liked it and it was still fun. And like, I don't want to like learn React. That doesn't sound fun. I just want to like keep doing the thing I'm doing. And there's other people who love to just hop on the newest JavaScript framework and love to compare all the LLM models together, and like that's fun for them for some reason. That's another thing with the AI stuff that I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's like, what is it really that I like about programming? Because it's not literally typing code. I don't like
Yeah.
the typing code, but I also don't like prompting an LLM to do it and then reviewing code and doing it. There's something in the middle there that's, we've talked about the engineering mindset and like something about problem solving, and
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of trouble putting my finger on like what it is I really love about programming.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, it's definitely, for me, it's somewhere in that problem solving space. I mean, you talk about like literally entering the code, and yeah, that's not. I mean, that's almost like a mathematician saying like, yeah, I really like writing on a chalkboard. Like, no,
Yeah.
you like thinking about this stuff. You like exploring these ideas. You like being challenged. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me is I like having a challenge, and then that feeling of when you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I guess LLMs, they just kind of like shift what the challenges are in a way, I guess, right? The challenges become higher level, and maybe those challenges are less fun.
Well, I kind of wonder, if I was younger and let's say I used LLMs all the way through college or whatever, would I have come out of that experience with like that same love of challenge and problem solving, but the AI would be my tool, my medium to get there? You know what I mean? I kind of wonder about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just for me, like my experiences using LLMs have been so like not fun that I can't imagine that would be the case. So, one kind of like thought experiment I've had recently is like, okay, so let's say the fun is gone from programming. Like, let's just say it's not fun, or let's say like the new ChatGPT comes out tomorrow, and it has actually solved programming. It can literally code anything perfectly with just like vague instructions. Is there another space that captures what programming gave me?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like I know some people, we've talked about this before, some people go into like woodworking and carpentry, and I don't really know anything about that space, so I don't know if that's really similar. I know a lot of people have moved into like kind of the hardware side of things, like electronics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wonder what it is or what it could be.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind there is, I've talked before on the podcast about like some of the creative coding and audio plugins and stuff like that. Like, I still don't know that. Like, I still think there will always be a space for human creativity in those kind of creative endeavors that are kind of at the intersection of creativity and programming. That's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. And, maybe that means writing all the code with an LLM, but still coming up with novel and interesting ways to combine audio filters into like an interesting plugin or something like that. What about you? What have you come up with?
I love that you just said novel and interesting right then. Like my new motto. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, there's that. Like I saw, I've seen people that have kind of tried to do like, they've tried to offload some of the creative stuff to the LLMs, and I think that that's just completely a misuse of like what it is. I think that's like not the right. Like I talked about like the game development aspect earlier. Like I 100% think that like the game designer should always be the human. Like I don't think LLMs can do that. I don't think anything interesting comes out of that.
Yeah.
And that goes for like, so okay, I know this is sort of a hot topic too. Like people talk about art, like what role does AI play in art? A lot of people seem to be very just anti AI and art completely. And I feel like I'm kind of there, but I kind of think about like, um, so like in film they have like stock footage, right? So there'll be like stock footage of a crocodile swimming, right? And that's like a piece of film, a little piece of footage that you put into your movie or show or whatever to establish that we are now in the Everglades. Crocodiles are in the alligators are in the Everglades, whatever.
I don't know.
You know, like you have like an establishing shot, and it's just kind of like a shot that you can purchase because you don't want to go like you can't just like hire a team to go like film crocodiles for like this 2-second thing, right? So you just buy that. I feel like that's kind of the role that like AI tools play in like filmmaking, right? It's like an establishing shot or like maybe some effects work, but you know, there seems to be a lot of focus on like entirely AI generated films, and it's like that's interesting from a technical standpoint, but I don't think that's interesting. Like, I don't think that's what we want to go for. I don't think that's what we want, right? I think we want
Right.
films that are created by people, but you know, I think it's fine if they can use LLMs in a tasteful way like that. You know, establishing extra wide shots. You know, you come back, you cut back from a commercial break in your sitcom. You know, and they show like the house outside. You know, that can be AI generated, whatever. It usually doesn't even match. You know, a lot of this stuff is like filmed in a different place anyway. Like it doesn't. You know, I kind of see that being the role, but I do think there needs to be a little bit of the separation between like the creative human being and the AI tool.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you're probably right. I mean, I think that's like I don't think anyone would watch a 90-minute movie that had 3 minutes of AI generated establishing shots like that and be like AI generated slop, you know? Like
Yeah.
I don't I think it's tough where to draw that line though. Where to
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm conflicted about that myself because it's only a matter of time before things like that are everywhere and we won't even notice. It'll
Right.
just be something.
Yeah. I guess if we don't notice as a consumer, it's okay. I mean, it sucks for, you know, the creators and stuff. And I think that's why, because there are people that are just like, yeah, no AI in any art at all. And I think they're more coming from the creator side, if like they're thinking about jobs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think so. But also the fact that, I mean, it's a real thing that like the only reason AI can generate those establishing shots is because an artist did the work, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the LLM just stole it.
And that's the thing. I still have yet to really see any AI generated art that was like truly compelling. I've seen stuff that's like cool or interesting, but yeah, most of it is like Shrek doing skateboard tricks or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, but yeah, it's not, you know, it's not speaking to me in the way that like my favorite films and music do, you know.
Did you watch any of that Aronofsky AI generated one? Aronofsky did like a Revolutionary War totally AI generated thing.
I didn't hear about this at all.
I say totally AI generated, but it's only like, I mean, I think that somebody wrote a script and I think there were voice actors even, but like all the shots were AI generated. So that's, I don't know. That's kind of a mixture. No, I haven't seen it.
Is it like a movie or is it like just like something online?
It's a
like,
short.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how long it is, but it's not a full movie.
Darren Aronofsky, I'm not a big fan of.
Oh, really?
I've never seen, what's his big movie?
Probably Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, I've actually never, that's like one of my movies that's like, how have you never seen that I've never seen? But I didn't like Mother very much.
I don't think I haven't seen very many of his, honestly.
So there, I saw one of your movies, and it was like, okay, so I don't care about you ever again. I've probably seen more. Let me look this up.
Black Swan.
Oh yeah, that was good. Okay, that was good.
Did you like Pie?
Yeah. Oh, The Wrestler was good. Okay. Never mind.
He's back on the good list.
He's okay. It's really it's kind of odd to me that like a well-known director would like do an AI thing though. I feel like most of the creative types are like really against the AI stuff.
Yeah. No, I think it's kind of a unique thing that he's embracing that and choosing to really go all in on it. I'm kind of curious to watch it. I don't know if it's any good or not.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, to go back to your question though, I mean, I really just don't know what captures that feeling. I would say that the closest thing I do that captures the satisfying feeling I got from programming, other than programming, is probably chess. I play a lot of online chess lately, and I feel like that kind of scratches almost a similar itch in a way.
Oh, interesting. I knew you played chess. I didn't know you were that into it. I didn't know it was like it was scratching the itch to that degree.
Well, I mean, it's a different thing, right? Because I'm not ever creating something, right?
Yeah.
It has this like adversarial aspect to it that programming doesn't have, which is different. But I would say that like calculating moves feels similar to like thinking about a complex algorithm. You know what I mean? That logic part, the logical thinking aspect of it, I guess, is similar. And ironically, chess is something that a computer can do way better than me also. And yet I still do it. So
I remember reading an early on AI article where he was talking about, chess has been like a solved computer, even before AI, right? Chess was kind of a solved problem just by brute force, just by enough compute, it's able to calculate the possibilities. And he was like, and yet chess, was it like during COVID, chess went crazy. Tons of people got into chess.
Yeah.
And I think Go was the same way. Like Go is now, computers can beat people at Go, no problem, but people still play Go. They still love it.
I don't know. I feel like there's something just about it being a game that's different, like, because I mean, we've had like vehicles that can go faster than people can run for a very long time, but people still race,
Right.
Like so we want to see who's faster, which person is faster, So I don't know. It's different in a way. Programming is this very like goal oriented, you have this idea of this thing that you want to make. So that's like feels different than that.
I think that's why I struggle with the chess analogy. I'm terrible at chess, and I need to get locked into that thing that you're talking about of thinking about it like an algorithm. But like it's when you're programming, there's like a successful thing that happens, when the program compiles and it runs and it does what you want. It's like, I did it. I completed this task that I set out for myself, there is something very goal oriented about it. Or maybe just that it fits into, maybe that's one of the reasons that in the last few decades it's become, software is eating the world. It fits in nicely with our kind of like goal oriented, productivity oriented culture that we have in our offices.
Yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked. I'm reading about this Aronofsky thing. Apparently it's a series. Yeah, it's a Revolutionary War thing. And people hate it. It's getting review bomb. No, it's got a 1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Oh.
499 reviews. But see, and this okay. For a long time, I've had a thing with like review sites. I think I've always wondered like if there's a way to truly solve review sites, because there's a lot of problems inherently. This is a whole other episode. This is gonna be our next episode. Review websites. I'm gonna break this down right now.
I feel like you've mentioned this before, but I don't remember.
I feel like we have. Like, there's a lot to it, but the main thing is like, there's just no way. First of all, like, how do you compare two different films that are two totally different things that are apples and oranges, But then there's also like, how do you get the type of people who review things on a review site that's a type of person, right? The correlation causation kind of stuff, with any kind of survey. There's all that. But anyway, so the problem here is like all these people are leaving 1-star reviews and they're just saying AI slop, right? Like this guy just said AI slop. What a grotesque disappointment. There's nothing worse than seeing a once revered artist and director turn into such a pathetic, it gets cut off, but waste of time, AI slop. It's like, okay, are you guys talking about the movie as it exists? Or are you talking about the means in which it was created? Those two things are related, but like, is it actually suck, or does it just suck because it's AI generated?
Right. Could you? What would happen if you had a movie with a great script and a great like cast of actors, but it was generated in the early days of AI video generation and just didn't have a good look to it? Or like 28 Days Later, right, was famously shot on like early digital and it just kind of looks like ass by today's standards.
Yeah. But that was on purpose, wasn't it? Wasn't that like part of the effect?
I think it was, yeah. I think he knew what he was going for there. But I'm trying to think. I mean, there are other examples of that though, where people have like tried out different technologies and in retrospect, it just looks bad because we associate like the technology just wasn't there yet or whatever.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to have an AI movie that's good except for the fact that the AI video generation looks bad?
I just wish there was a way to know. Can I watch this somewhere? I want to see, like, I'll watch it myself and see if it's any good. Where can I watch this? Doesn't tell me. I'll watch this. I'll let everyone know. Find it somewhere.
Well, to go back to what started it all, this thing about abstraction and AI, I really do feel like AI is it's a different beast than all of the other things that he's mentioning here, right? TypeScript that compiles to JavaScript, again, that's deterministic, like the same, at least for a certain TypeScript compiler, right? The same TypeScript will always generate the same JavaScript.
Right.
The things that he's talking about here, like the V8 engine, I assume he's referring to like garbage collection and stuff. There's things that are happening that we don't know about or understand. But I think when you think of these things as like functions with inputs and outputs, there are guarantees to all of these things that they will produce the same output given the same inputs. And I think that that's what is different about the AI stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe that's part of I think what draws a lot of people to computing in general is that deterministic aspect of it, right? The way it's this perfectly predictable thing. People say they like computers more than people because there's like no guesswork, right? Like you can understand it and it does exactly what you tell it to do.
Yeah.
And now we're like throwing that out the window.
That's certainly the case for me. I feel there's something really, what he's talking about here when he says that he lost track of what's happening, or what does this student say? The person says they didn't really know what was going on anymore. It's like there is an aspect of it to even I don't know how to say it, but even if I don't understand every aspect of what's going on, I do feel like that deterministic thing is really important. It helps me, I don't know, maybe it helps me feel like I'm in control or something like that. Maybe there's like a psychological aspect to it, but I really like that feeling of like knowing what's going to come out when I put certain things in.
Yeah. No, I feel like I get what you're trying to say, even if I also can't put it into words exactly. But there's something there.
It's tough. I think there's a psychological component. I think there's an emotional component to it. I think it's a very hard thing to really put into words. I think that's why their article, this is not the only article that's, trying to put it into words and trying to say this. It's he talks about grief, he talks about the thing I love, right? These are all like just very emotionally loaded terms.
Do you think there was ever like a time in history where, I don't know, do you think there was someone who just like really loved being a stagecoach, and then that went away when they invented cars?
Oh, absolutely.
You just have to like grapple with that.
100%. Doormen. I bet there are people who love being doormen.
Both of those things still exist, though, right? A little bit.
Stagecoaches?
But I mean, well, they have like you can like ride a little carriage around downtown or whatever. Most cities have something like that. Not
That's
the
true.
same thing, but
And yeah, I mean, they probably do. I think in both cases, they're kind of like hearkening back to an older time. There's probably a handful of examples, but like, I would guess the number of doormen in New York City over the last 100 years dropped from a lot to very few.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna be the first like old timey programmer. Like, I'm gonna be like, when I'm an old man, I'm gonna work at like a 2020s museum, and they're gonna hire me to like sit at a computer and type.
And people are going to come look at you?
Well, no, people can like ask me questions. Like you go to like the if you've ever been to those like towns where they have like people that dress like pilgrims or whatever, and they'll be like doing stuff, working on stuff like historic places. You can like
right,
ask
like
stuff.
A pioneer town kind of thing.
Yeah. So like that's what I'm gonna do. But for now.
I was imagining like a zoo that people just come like watch you program.
I mean that too. That could work, but no, it's like people are gonna come ask me questions like, so what's this like? What's up with React? What is that about? And then I try to explain it, and they just have no idea what I'm even talking about because they don't know what JavaScript is or what a web browser is or anything.
Yeah, you're gonna have to back way up in the story and be like, back in my day, there was a thing called JavaScript.
So like, imagine the embedded HUD in your eyes, but it's like on a screen.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead of just like thinking thoughts to each other, you had to like type them out.
Let me put this in terms that you can understand.
Yeah, who knows?
That'd be a cool job, man. Yeah, I think you'd be good at
that. I'd be good at doing what I do now.
Yeah, but it would be totally different because like you wouldn't actually be producing any code. You would be mostly interacting with the guests, right?
Those guys do stuff. Like I go and I ask it. Like the blacksmith will be like making actual stuff.
Really?
In the little black hut. Yeah.
What's he making? Horseshoes?
Yeah, horseshoes and like door hinges and stuff.
Huh.
You should go and ask. They'll be happy to tell you about it.
I've always assumed they were just pretending to work. That there's no butter in the butter churn.
There's probably some of that, but like I've definitely gone to some in the area, and yeah, they make real stuff. I don't know if it's like really good or like whatever, but it's because then they have like real like of the time props they can put up and stuff too, you know.
Oh, okay. I got one. Did you hear that?
I heard something.
Yeah, I think it's my wife yelling. I don't know what's going on. I got one of those right by my house. Forget what it's called, but
You do? Old Missouri Town isn't that far from me.
Oh yeah, that's the big one. They got bison over there.
I think the bison are gone actually. The last few times I've gone, the bison weren't there, and I think they, I forget, but I think they don't have them anymore.
America has
you can also go to
the
historic Fort Osage, and they have they'll have like blacksmith people there making stuff, and they make real stuff.
Where's that? Fort Osage.
Yeah, it's in Sibley, Missouri. Today's episode has been sponsored by Jackson County Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, I have no idea where that is. We'll have to go there sometime.
Yeah, I only know because I grew up over there. It's small. It's yeah, it's not much. But there you have it.
Well, I think we'll leave it there. That's probably a good place to end.
Oh. All right. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.
1X Developer Podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Colin. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for listening to this episode of the 1X Developer Podcast, and let you know that if you have any questions, comments, or if you just want to tell us about your day, you can reach us at X, formerly known as Twitter, at 1X Developer Podcast. We're also on YouTube at 1X Developer Podcast. You can email us if you're weird at 1xdeveloperpodcast@protonmail.com. And lastly, don't forget to follow, subscribe, all that stuff, so you don't miss any further episodes of the 1X Developer Podcast. Thanks so much. See you next time.